All righty, good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. This is the regular board meeting for the Brownsville Public Utilities Board. Today's date is August 11th. It is 5 p.m. and we're in the BPUB Annex building. I wanted to call the meeting to order. Do we have confirmation for a quorum?
Confirmed.
Okay, we also have Mayor Cowan remote. So that'll be 5 of us today. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. We'll move on to item D, workshop for public hearings. No workshops. Do we have any public comments today? All righty, we'll get started with item F, consent agenda items. If you guys can take a look at the list here, we have 12 items under consent. Let me know if you have any comments or questions or a motion.
If there's no questions, I move to approve.
I have a motion. Do you have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for that. Moving on to item G, items for individual consideration. We'll start with the general manager's report. Maryland's out today, so we'll have, I think, Mark.
So Ms. Gilbert is out this evening, and I don't have a copy of the board calendar here, but I will follow up by email to all the board members of the update from that board calendar report.
Okay. We do have the calendar here on the screen, just for everyone watching. It's pretty standard. We have the SWA board meetings, which we had earlier August 4th. We have today's meeting August 11th. As far as other items, we do have some of the committee items there that met earlier this month. Probably for the board, just to give some visibility, we have the strategic plan retreat on August 20th. We have our first audit committee meeting on the 21st. BPUB drought roundtable for key account customers the 27th. And then the rest of the finance committee meetings for September and October. And Labor Day, September 1st. Pretty straightforward, nothing out of the ordinary there. We'll move on to,
We had, so we have two new directors we'd like to introduce you to. So I'll allow the Mike and Connie to introduce their new directors and introduce them.
okay.
Utilities Board. Tonight, I'd like to introduce to Ms. Claudia Lujan, who is our new Director of Human Resources. I'm going to read her executive overview to just so that you can guys become acquainted with her. Claudia Lujan is a proven HR executive with 20-plus years in public sector leadership, known for her strategic mindset, political dexterity, and deep expertise in workforce transformation. She has led a multifunctional HR team across large municipal and county governments, driving initiatives in talent management, policy innovation, organizational development, and employee relations. Her leadership is grounded in a commitment to public service, operational excellence, and inclusive workplace culture. Claudia's educational foundation is employment law and business administration, complements her experience navigating complex workforce challenges with professionalism, integrity, and results. She joins the Brownsville Public Utilities team with a clear focus on aligning HR strategy with organizational goals, cultivating employee engagement, and contributing to BPUB long-term vision for innovation and community-driven service. Ms. Claudia has a bachelor's, master's, and I believe she has a jurisprudence as well in law from Tulane University. So I am unsure. Oh, there she is. Claudia, would you like to come up and say a couple of words? And if I botch your executive bio, please feel free to correct me. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. It's nice to be before all of you this evening. As mentioned, my name is Claudia Lujan. I have almost 30 years of experience in human resources. One item to clarify is I have a master's of jurisprudence. I am not an attorney. I just wanted to make that very clear. I will rely on our legal counsel quite a bit. But I look forward to working with all of you and to continue to move the organization forward for the people who bring the utilities to all the communities that we serve and meet the needs that are ever changing. And I look forward to working with my counterparts and ensuring that all of our workforce is recognized and they know that they have somebody to go to that's going to listen to making their work life much better as we move on and grow as an organization.
Great. Well, pleasure to
you.
meet you, and I'm sure we'll be talking later in more detail.
I look
yeah,
forward to that.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. I was walking in as you were announcing, so look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia.
Welcome.
All right, so good evening. Mike Perez, Chief Financial Officer. So I'm going to introduce our second director, Mr. David Medrano. He's a Brownsville native. He's joining us as a Director of Finance. His experience spans across more than 2 decades of leadership roles in public and private sectors, including service as Fort Worth City Auditor and executive positions at majority energy and utility organizations like CPS Energy, Reliant Energy, TXU Energy, and Shell Oil, Southern California Edison, and Pacific Gas and Electric. He has also led the finance and audit functions in local government, higher education, and nonprofit settings. His multifaceted background reflects a deep commitment to fiscal transparency, operational efficiency, and strategic leadership. He holds a bachelor's degree from Southern Methodist University and a master's in accountancy from the University of St. Thomas. He's a licensed certified public accountant, Texas and California, and holds professional designations as a chartered financial analyst, certified internal auditor, and certified fraud examiner. He has also completed executive development training at Rice University. So he brings some deep expertise in accounting, corporate finance, portfolio management, and internal audit. So at this point, this time I'll introduce Mr. Medrano.
So firstly, thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with Mike and the team and serving this board and also the residents and ratepayers of the city of Brownsville. So again, thank you very much.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you as well. Welcome back to Brownsville.
Yeah, thank you so
Sounds
much.
like you did a lot while you were out, and we definitely would like to take advantage of all that knowledge and help us in this organization
Certainly.
continue to move forward. So
Thank you so much.
thank you, Mr. Medrano.
Welcome.
All righty, so we're still on item G1. Anything on item B, industry and BPUB updates?
No additional information at this time.
Nope, okay. Item 2, consideration and action on items pulled out of consent. There was none today, so we'll skip to item number 3 for staff reports and presentations. We'll start with A, presentation and discussion on the BPUB financial performance report for period ending June 30th. Mike Lopez.
Lopez?
I'm
Perez. That's okay.
Perez.
So
Sorry
so
about
good
that.
evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So my name is Mike Perez. I am the Chief Financial Officer, and I'll be presenting the financial performance report as of June 30, 2025. So here we've got the executive summary, which focuses on 7 categories. Each category has their own gauge meter. Red representing poor, yellow is good, yellow is average, and green is good. So on the flow of funds, PB has generated $3,851,000 to replenish the improvement fund, and has a debt service coverage at 2.3 times, which is well above the 1.25 times minimum, so we're doing good. The fuel purchase and energy charge has generated an over-recovery of $22.47 million as of June 30th, and this will be used to offset some future market uncertainty. The current rate is at 0.05019. And it's been held steady at that rate for the past 10 months. The City of Brownsville's cash transfer is higher than budgeted due to some lower utility usage and a lower FPEC rate. The cash transfer is about $240,000 over budget. On personal expenses, those came in slightly higher than budgeted at 0.41%, about $180,000. But on the non-personal expense side, they did come in lower than budgeted by about 11.3%, primarily due to some timing issues. For Mr. Sarkis' attention, we usually close our books, the financial books, on the 10th of every month to allow us time to generate the financial statements, do quality checks, and prepare for the next board meeting. And so most of those invoices for the previous month coming after the 10th, and so they get captured the following month. And that's the primary reason that we're lagging behind, below budget right now. Moving on, BPUB's average bill is lower than both the average MOU bill and the average IOU bill for the 1,000 kWh residential user. That average bill is about $111.26. And it's been at that average bill for the past 10 months. The CIP year-to-date actuals and committed total $35.4 million and $40.7 million respectively, which represents 100% of the fiscal year 25 approved plan. Here we've got it as average, and the reason for that is because the year-to-date spend is at about 46.5%. We're already 9 months in. We should expect it between 70-75% actually spent. But all the projects have been or under contract, or there's a purchase order already in place. And then the last thing, all key financial metrics are currently in compliance. Here we've got the condensed statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. We are reporting current year-to-date and as compared to the same period last year. We got operating revenues at $168,449,000. This represents about a $2.3 million decrease from last year. So we did see a decrease of about $380,000 in base revenue, a decrease of $12.1 million in the fuel revenue. The fuel, that's a complete offset. It offsets against the expense, so it has a net zero net effect. There's a decrease of $1 million in the off-system sales, and the remaining difference is made up by the $9.5 million in rate stabilization funds that were used to pay down the November and December customer production costs as approved by the board last year. Moving on, our operating expenses were $145,985,000. Those came in at about we did see a decrease of about $4.7 million from the prior year. So the decrease, again, the fuel decreased by $12.1 million. We did see an increase in personnel expenses, about $3.9 million, an increase in contractual and other services of $3.8 million, making up the difference. So we arrive at line 3 operating income of $22,464,000. Once we back out the net non-operating expenses of $13,394,000, we arrive at income before capital contributions of $9,070,000. Adding in capital contributions of $14,171,000, we end up with an increase in net position year-to-date of $23,241,000. Adding this to the net position at the beginning of the fiscal year, we end up with a net position at the end of June of $498,377,000. Here we've got the condensed summary of revenues and expenses, and this is based on the flow of funds in compliance with the bond ordinance. We are comparing year-to-date actuals with the year-to-date budget. So we got operating revenues of $159,914,000. Those came in $29.9 million below budget. And the majority of that, again, represents the off-system, or I'm sorry, the fuel, which is down by $25.2 million as compared to the budget. Moving on, we've got other revenues of $19,396,000. Those are about $2 million above last year's, and thus that represents just interest earnings over what we had budgeted. We end up with gross revenues of $179,311,000. We back out the fuel and SRWA capital or contributions of $56,292,000, and we end up with adjusted gross revenues, line 5, of $123,018,000. This is the basis for the city's 10% transfer calculation, so the city is entitled to $12,301,000 off of that. So now we back out the other requirements for O&M, non-operating expenses and debt service of $95,270,000, and we arrive at a balance available after requirements of $27,747,000. Now we back out the total cash utility benefit to the city of Brownsville at 10% of $12,301,000, and we end up with a balance available for transfers out or BPB uses of $15,445,000. That $15.4 million was used to fund $11,594,000 was used to fund our CIP and capital reserves, leaving us a balance of $3,851,000 going to replenish the improvement fund. And here again, the debt service coverage ratio is at 2.3 times. Here we've got a budget to actual comparison for this for the current year and the previous 5 years. Here's where we see that the personal expenses came in at about $180,000 above budget, or about 0.41% or 0.14%. Here's the budget to actual comparisons on the O&M expense and expenses non-personnel. This is current expenses were under budget by about 3.62%, and that basically represents that timing issue that I explained a little earlier. Here we've got the City of Brownsville transfer summary. The total cash utility benefit was $890,000 under budget and about $450,000 under prior years. But when we look at the COB cash transfer, we do see that the actual cash transfer was $240,000 over budget and about $580,000 above prior year. And the big driver here, again, is that FPIC rate. This year, 10 consecutive months, the rate has been at 5.019 cents. Compared to the last year, 8 months out of the last year, that rate was at 7.841 cents. So that's a 56% drop in cost. And so that has brought the COB bills, not just the COB, but our customers' bills, lower than what they were paying last year. And so that is reflected in the increase in the cash transfer.
So for those 10 months, with the lower FPEC, I believe you said that our customer bill at 1,000 kilowatt hours is lower than the MOUs and IOUs that we normally compare ourselves against?
Correct, and we've got a slide that's coming up that'll show that comparison. Okay. And here it is. So here we've got the average electric bill and FPEC rates. So here we see that the average 1,000 kWh residential users, $111.26, compared to the average for the IOU at $153.56, and the MOU average at $124.82. As mentioned, the rate of 0.05019 has been in place since September of 24 through July makes 10 consecutive months that we've been able to maintain that that rate, kept it stable, and it has over-collected about 22.47 in that FPEC rate.
Sure.
Revenue.
Yeah, just wanted to highlight, obviously, there's many different ways of looking at the cost, of our ratepayers. This is one of them, although we've reviewed others, but it's still a good indicator that we're lower than, the IOUs and MOUs in the area. So just wanted to highlight that for the folks online.
Okay. Here's the CIP plan, budget versus actual. I am actually going to skip this and then the following two slides related to CIP because we do have a separate presentation that'll be made following this presentation. So here we've got the key financial metrics. Our debt service coverage ratio at 2.3 times, well above the 1.25 time requirement. Our outstanding debt is at $254 million with an annual debt service of $28.5 million. Our debt to capitalization ratio is at about 40%, with a municipal utility medium at about 38%, so we're good. Days cash on hand, the industry standard is about 180 days, and we're at 473 days, so we've got sufficient cash. Our bond ratings, Moody's at an A2, Fitch and S&P at an A-, and all of our reserves are fully funded. On this last slide, we've got some customer receivable metrics. The total receivable that's within 30 days is at about 97.8%. So that's good, almost 98%. The total utility assistance year to date is $1,682,000, and our average customer receivable collection period is hovering around 25 days. That concludes the financial presentation. There's a lot of other reports that are attached for your review. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Yeah, any questions or comments? All right.
All right,
Thank you, Mike. Moving on to 3B, year-to-date capital improvement plan activity as of June 30th, 2025. George Santillan and
Good
David
evening.
Ramirez.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and board members. Let me look for the right. Okay. Again, Jorge Santillan, Finance Manager, and I will go over the CIP Combined Utility Financial Summary as of June 30th, 2025, and then Mr. Ramirez will go over the key metrics and the cash flow. And also, before you, it's a revised PowerPoint. We had some last-minute additions. Mr. Ramirez will go over those slides. Looking at the the dashboard on the left side, the total FY 2025 CIP budget, it's $76.1 million. The bottom portion, the actuals to June 30th is $35.4 million. The committed, $40.7 million. Those are the purchase orders that have been issued. Now, there's a footnote at the bottom. The total commitments through June total $41.5 million. Amount shown is capped at the available CIP budget. Many of those POs will roll over into next fiscal year, and they're going to be paid in the following fiscal year. That leaves a zero budget balance. Looking at the middle dashboards, the percentage of budget spent by project type, the 60% of the electrical, 27.7 budget has been spent. For wastewater, 42% of the 24 budget has been spent. For water, 41% of the 19.4 million budget has been spent, and for general and administration, 15% of the 4.9 budget has been spent. Moving on to the right side, the year-to-date actuals and committed by category. In blue, we have the actuals, and in red, the committed. Actuals total 35.4, committed 41.5. And the first one under construction, actuals 16.2, committed $19.8 million, grant funded and this is mainly the ARPA water wastewater project and the AMI. Actual 6.4, committed 7.8 million. Customer connections 7.8 million, committed 3.1. Utility relocations 1.4 million, 6.7 committed. In design, out for bids 1.7 actuals, 2.5 committed. Vehicles and equipment 2.1 actuals, 1.7 committed, and the Hidalgo Energy Center 100,000 actuals. And this is the end of my presentation. Any questions before I turn it over to Mr. Ramirez?
No, no questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. My name is David Ramirez, and I'll be presenting the following year-to-date CAP delivery report. The key metrics that I'll be focusing on are variance from plan, which is the dollar difference between the project expenses originally planned year-to-date and the actual expenses year-to-date. Also, the percent as planned year-to-date, which measures the variance between the planned year-to-date spending and the actual year-to-date spending amounts by percentage. And the percentage from total, which indicates the overall spending towards the full fiscal year budget. In summary, the fiscal year 2025 CAP plan included 263 projects, $76 million total budget, $38.9 million were planned to be spent year-to-date, and $35.4 million have been spent year-to-date, which is a variance from planned of $3.5 million through the end of June. In terms of percentages, that represents 91% spent as planned through the end of June and 47% spent from the total budget. Okay, now across the months in fiscal year 2025, the actual expenditures have mostly stayed under but close to the planned baseline with a margin of about $3 million, catching up to the plan on a couple of occasions. If we use the originally planned monthly expenses for the 3 remaining months in the fiscal year, we would project the final total CAP delivery of $62 million. Although we are aware of some project milestones shifting into the following fiscal year, therefore the final fiscal year 2025 CAP delivery number is expected to be somewhat less than this projection, still higher than the previous years. Looking at the black bars, they are the same information as the blue line, but broken up by months. It's the amount of dollars that the project managers plan to spend each month. As we can see, this annual plan was more heavily loaded towards the last 3 months of the year, so these last months will have a higher impact on the final number. The following table shows the top 10 projects that are behind their originally planned spending year to date, as well as the top 10 projects that are ahead of their planned spending through the end of June. I'll go ahead and discuss a couple of the projects in the list, and I can come back at the end of my report if there's additional questions on any of the other projects. Advanced metering infrastructure, this project's behind in its planned cash flow spending by about $1 million. This is partly due to some of the costs associated with the purchase of meters not yet charged to the project until they get installed. Also, there was a slight schedule shift earlier in the year due to the execution of a change order. Other than that, the project manager for this project actually reports this project to be moving on schedule. Next, electric utility work. This project is also behind by about $1 million. This project is for the installation of overhead feeder and underground primary pedestals and transformers for new development. This work experienced some delays due to staffing constraints internally as well as from the contractor side, but it's catching up. It's catching on. There are already $340,000 in work completed that PUB is waiting to be invoiced, as well as $600,000 worth of work undergoing right now. Next, ARPA Downtown Water and Wastewater Improvement Project 2. This project is behind in its spending by about $1.2 million when you add its water and wastewater components. In this case, the contractor had a late start, but it is making good progress. Further down the list, City Streets contract All Highway 77. This project is behind by about $1 million when you combine its water and wastewater components. In this case, there were initial field conflicts and a change order that delayed the project, and also the contractor is moving slowly. The wastewater utilities there are deep, and the contractor has to be cautious. The following slide presents the same information from a different angle, broken up by utility type. The top gray bar shows actual year-to-date expenses. The middle light blue bar shows expenses planned year-to-date, and the bottom dark blue bar shows the overall year budget for that utility. Here we can see that the wastewater project expenses are roughly on par with what was planned through June, while water and general projects are lagging behind more notably, and the electric projects are quite ahead of their planned expenses through June. However, all projects are behind the overall budget goal, considering their current expenses, and only 3 months are left in the fiscal year. The following information was put together from current feedback from project managers for the fiscal year 2025 CIP, and it's an attempt at explaining experienced challenges in delivering the CIP. We asked project managers for reasons that could explain a delay in spending their funds as planned. We then grouped those reasons into the following categories, where 3 have the largest impact based on dollars not spent according to schedule: external entities constraints, organizational bottleneck, and contractor issues. External entities constraints is when PUB is working jointly with outside entities and has little control over the project schedule, such as TxDOT projects, city projects, where PUB has to relocate or replace water, wastewater, or electrical lines. Organizational bottleneck, this has to do with internal workload spread, where in some cases a project manager has too many projects assigned. And contractor issues, we broke down the contractor issues into 4 more refined categories as shown in those 4 bars. Contract negotiation reviews, this is when negotiations or contract reviews take longer than planned. Contractor late start, this happens when there are few specialty contractors bidding on PUB projects and end up with several BPUB projects awarded. BPUB opts to allow them to finish BPUB projects that they already have undergoing before allowing them to start the new project. This can delay the projects by a couple of months. Next, contractor delays. This is more of a contractor internal issue where the contractor is just making slow progress and can have a heavier impact on the overall project schedule, potentially delaying the project by months. It's due to the contractor's internal processes, administration, or means and methods. And finally, contractor delayed invoicing. This one typically has a short-lived impact on the project schedule and is due to the contractor simply taking longer to submit their invoices. This typically impacts the project schedule by a month or 2, and then quickly adjusts. So again, those are the 3 most impactful reasons affecting CIP delivery based on dollars not being spent as originally planned. From a project list point of view, to date, there are 108 out of 263 projects delayed. Finally, this table shows reasons affecting CIP delivery, not from a dollar perspective, but from the number of projects delayed. And as you can see, each category listed on the left with the corresponding number of projects delayed for perspective. From this table, we can see that the most impactful issue would be organizational bottleneck, followed by external entities constraints. This perspective is solely based on the number of projects delayed, big or small. However, if you recall from the previous slide, contractor delay is the category that impacts the CIP the most based on dollars not delivered on time. And this concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Yes, I do have a question for you. On the contract that are being delayed, did they get like fine or something, or how they work when they delay the work because of them? Do they get any fine or something?
There are provisions in the contract. I'm losing liquidated damages. Thank you. There are provisions in the contract that allow for BPUB to assess liquidated damages on contractors that have unjustified delays on their projects, but those are assessed on a case-by-case basis. There are a lot of nuances that come into play as well. There could have been a lot of weather impacts in the project that caused delays, or third-party delays as well, where they encounter conflicts with other utilities that were not originally part of the project.
I have a question. First of all, thank you for the report, very detailed, and come a long way in reporting to the board where the CPI stands. You know, there's a lot of work that goes in there. I can tell it's being, managed very well. And I really like at the very end, you talk about root causes, right? And you've done a good job in explaining and defining those. Once you've established these root causes, because it looks just like on the slide that's up, the organizational bottlenecks and external entity constraints seem to account for the majority of those. I mean, what do y'all do? What's the process in order to try to address those root causes in order to kind of improve the process?
There's various causes, as you've seen. So first of all, what we're doing now is more frequent feedback between project managers and other teams that have been put together to assist them in reducing delays on projects. Like in this case, we're doing more analysis, sharing this information with project managers and directors. I know that in some instances, some areas have had a difficult time hiring experienced engineers to manage projects, and currently they're in the process of mentoring those young engineers to allow for the work to be spread more evenly eventually.
I mean, I think it's just very important that where it's applicable that, that y'all agree on what are the action items to address these. Not all issues can be addressed, right? Some of it's like external environments that you can't really do anything about, but I would imagine that there's a lot of things that can be done. And so I would continue to encourage you and the department to kind of reach a consensus on action items that you think will have a favorable impact, and then continue to follow up on those.
Definitely.
Okay. But good report, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this report. And I just want to double check. This is the first time that a survey like this has been done?
Correct. This year, Mr. Ramirez, we started the CIP delivery team, and so now he is focused. He doesn't do the projects. He monitors and manages the process of the projects. So he's dedicated now to collecting all this information. We are implementing a system that should go live in October, our e-builder, which a lot of this will be automated into a piece of software, which will help remove some of the bottlenecks as we work through that. And so you should get better analytics, not only on a global basis, but on a project basis as well.
Great. Thank you. Good job.
Yeah, and I think in the Finance Committee, we just mentioned if there's anything that the board can do to help alleviate some of these challenges, obviously, please let us know, right? Reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to support any effort around that. All right, so moving on to item C, the Brownsville BPUB Quarterly Investment Report for quarter ending June 30th. This is pursuant to Chapter 2256.023 of the Public Funds Investment Act. Miriam Camacho?
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair, members of the board. My name is Miriam Camacho. I'm the Treasury and Accounting Manager for BPUB. I'll be presenting the investment report for quarter ended June 30th, 2025. This report was prepared in accordance with Chapter 2256 of the Public Funds Investment Act. The investment portfolio complied with PFIA and BPUB approved investment policy and strategy throughout the quarter. I'll be going over pages 1 through 4, and I'll start with column A, asset class. So for our bank deposits, our market value was $26,286,829.40. Percentage of our portfolio was 11.10, and the yield to maturity was 3.63. Moving over to the certificates of deposit, going over column C again, market value was $7,461,000, with the percentage of portfolio of 3.15 and a yield to maturity of 4.55. Our investment pools, with a market value of $165,189,822.39, percentage of our portfolio of 69.78, and a yield to maturity of 4.37. U.S. Treasury notes and bills had a market value of $36,809,214, with a percentage of 15.97 and a yield to maturity of 4.30, with a total of our portfolio total market value of $236,745,865.79, and a yield to maturity of 4.28. Continuing with page 2, this is our historical net yield comparison. BPUB for the quarter ended June 30th, 2025, had a yield to maturity of 4.28, like I mentioned on the previous report, and S&P Pool Index with the 4.32% and the 91-day T-bill with 4.21%. Next page, I'm going to go into details as to what those asset class consist of and the market value and the yield to maturity. I'll be going over the description, then market value, column G, and yield to maturity, column H. So our bank deposits were composed of insured and collateralized with a total market value of $26,286,829 with 40 cents. And it ranged, the yield to maturity ranged from 1.65 to 4.17. Certificates of deposits with a total market value of $7,461,000 with the yield to maturity range from 4.26 through 5.44. Page 4, our investment pools with a market value of $165,189,822 with 39 cents, with the yield to maturity ranging from 4.26 to 4.51, and our treasury bills and notes with a market value of $36,809,214 with the yield to maturity ranging from 4.22 to 4.47. This concludes my presentation. Pages 5 through 22 are supplemental information, if anyone has any questions that I can answer.
I know we are pretty limited on the assets that we invest, but I also know that in the market there's been a lot of recent changes. Just curious, has anything changed that has, meaning that assets that we could invest in that we can't anymore, or vice versa?
No, it was, I was just, today I had a PFIA training, and they stated, every year they tell us the legislative changes. There weren't any, but some were proposed, like to be added to the allowable investments, and that was crypto, which was not approved, but that was in the table, or was proposed to be included in the PFIA, which it did not pass. But other than that, every year they tell us of anything that has changed in regards to what we can invest in, and as of 2019, nothing has changed.
Okay, yeah, I was curious specifically on that one. So just keep us abreast if in the future, maybe next session something changes, just let us know.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, moving on to item 3D, presentation and discussion of the fiscal year 2026 preliminary proposed O&M budget. George Santillan.
Mr. Chair and board members, again, Jorge Santillan, Finance Manager. And I will go over the summary of the fiscal year 2026 preliminary proposed O&M budget. Some background on this, on the budget for 2026. June 2nd, we had the budget kickoff. On mid-June, departments submitted their O&M budget, and then a week later, their CIP budget. we've been working with the revenue projections and also compiling and reviewing the O&M and CIP request. Last week, we presented some of these slides to the Finance Committee. On this slide, we're going to be looking at the proposed budget source of funds, the revenues, and looking at the, beginning with the electric base rate revenues, shown in greenish color. Of this total, 82.4 million, and these revenues were projected using a 3-year historical average, which is the same methodology applied in prior years. Now, this is the fixed portion of the electric rate charged to customers. Going clockwise, we have the electric fuel and purchase energy charge, and this covers the cost of fuel used for electric generation, purchase power, and associated costs. And this totals 90.2 million. And this is the same amount on the expense side. Basically, this is a pass-through cost to the customer, and we'll see the same amount in the expenses once we go over the expenses. Next, we have the water revenues, 36.1 million. And as the third bullet point explains, the water and wastewater revenue projections incorporate a 5% rate increase, which goes into effect January the 1st, 2026. And this rate increase was approved back on May 3rd, 2022. Next, we have the Resaca fee totaling 4.2 million. And the revenues are projected using the current monthly rate of 6.25 per customer. Next, wastewater revenues, 33.8 million. And also, as the water rate includes a 5% rate increase, which goes into effect January 1st, 2026. Other revenues and non-operating revenues totaling 18.6 million includes congestion revenue rights, penalty and late fees, security light fees, connection and service charges, and transmission cost of service charges. And lastly, we have the interest revenue totaling 4.8 million. And this is revenues based on forecasted reduced interest rates. Continuing with the proposed budget use of funds, expenses, and looking on the left side, beginning with on the red section, the O&M expenses. This total 108.2 million. And on the right side, we have a breakout of what it's made out of, what's included in the O&M, beginning in the, with the personnel. 16.8 million, and this we applied, here includes a reduction for vacancy savings of 7% of total wages, or 2.7, that's the amount of the reduction. Basically, we budget 93% of wages because of known vacancy savings every year. Next, in yellow, we have the non-personnel, 43.4 million. Then the Resaca fee-funded O&M, 1.7 million. Also included in the budget is a proposed inflationary wage adjustment of 1 million, and this equals to a 2% wage increase for our employees. Also, we have the second year, 500,000 for the second year of the merit program. It's also included in this proposed budget. And also, we have 700,000 for new positions for the upcoming year. The number and which positions that's to be determined at a later time. Continuing on the left side with the graphic, other non-operating expenses, 1.1 million. Debt service fund, 29.6 million, and this includes the principal and interest requirements on our long-term debt. Next, we have the city gross transfer of 17.3 million. This includes the cash transfer to the city and the utility consumption. And this is based on the 10% adjusted gross revenue. Available for transfers out, 16.9 million. Again, we show a breakout on the right side, beginning on the green section. Transfer to the improvement fund, CIP funding, 8.6 million. Improvement fund, Resaca fee, CIP funding, 2.6 million. Operating sub-account fuel adjustment, 1.5 million, and this is to mitigate the price fluctuations in fuel prices during the year. And then the next two, those are the second year of the reserves. The first one is the power supply stabilization reserve, 2.2 million, and then the commissioning reserve, 2 million. Total transfers out, 16.9 million. Moving on to on the left side again, power supply cost, 90.2 million. And again, this is the exact amount as we saw on the revenue side, 90.2 million. Then we have the last one is the SRWA contribution. That's our 93% contribution to the SRWA. And this totals 6.9 million. Total expenses, 270.1 million. On this slide, we have the, from left to right, we have the non-personnel comparison bar graph. This is the actual. For the first one, we have the 2023 actuals of 40.5 million. For 2024, we have the actuals of 40.3 million. The third bar, we have the FY 2025 approved budget of 41.4 million. And then in blue, the fourth bar, we have the projected year-end estimated at 40.8 million. And then the last bar, that's the proposed FY 2026 at 43.4 million. Now, the 2026 proposed, it's a 4.8 increase from the FY 2025 approved budget. Now, the proposed amounts that there were, we use average actuals for the last 2 years. We also used current year trends to arrive at the estimates for next year, and also anticipated increases for FY 2026. Here we have the non-personnel O&M budget versus actuals for the last 5 years. And this is consistently, every year we end below budget. The average, for the 5 years, we average at 7% less than the budget. For every actuals, they end 7% less than the adopted budget. And this is consistent. This is for the average of the 5 years. For FY 2025, which is not shown here, we project to end at 1.4 below budget. On this slide, looking at, this is the combined summary of revenues and expenses in millions, and this is in a condensed format, looking at column E, second to the last column, beginning with the proposed FY 2026 budget, the gross revenues, 270.1 million. And then from here, we deduct the production, fuel purchase power other of 90.2 million. And then also we deduct the Southmost Regional Water Authority of 6.9 million. And we arrive at adjusted gross revenues of 173 million, which is also, this is the basis of the transfer to the city. Then on the expenses side, we have operating expenses of 108.2 million. Other non-operating expenses, 1.1 million. Debt service requirements, 29.6. City gross transfer, 17.3. And this is at 10% of the adjusted gross revenue on line number 5. Transfers out, 16.9 million. Improvement fund, surplus revenues, well, this is a zero amount. This leaves a total expenses of 173 million, which results in a balanced budget of adjusted revenues equaling the expenses. The projected debt service coverage, line 13, is 2.15 times, which is about the 1.25 requirement. The next three pages, slides 7, 8, and 9, and this is a more detailed information of what I just presented, and this is in a similar format as what Mr. Perez presents in the flow of funds report that he presents on a monthly basis. Moving on to the this slide, this strategy, as previously mentioned, the proposed budget includes 700,000 for new positions. In the past, in some cases, new positions were created where it was decided it was more beneficial to have services done in-house versus contracting them out. Some of the strategies or approach when considering new in-house personnel versus outside contractors. For example, the first bullet point, cost savings, bringing roles in-house eliminates the recurring costs of hiring external contractors, which can be more expensive in the long run. Also, consistency and quality control. Internal staff can ensure higher standards of work, quality, and more consistent results. Also, the third bullet point, faster response times. Having dedicated in-house employees allows for quicker adjustments and responses to immediate needs. Also, improved knowledge retention with new positions. Institutional knowledge remains within the company. And the last bullet point, long-term strategic planning. In-house roles foster better alignment with long-term goals and allow for strategic development of talent that supports business growth over time. And here we have some, on the right side, we have some examples of our case studies. Number one, the cross-connection department was contracting an outside vendor to perform backflow inspections. The annual expenditure for this contract was $250,000. In FY23, the board approved 2 positions to conduct these inspections internally. The annual funding requirement for both of these positions is approximately $142,000. Another case study, prior to 24, BPUB relied on outside legal firm to perform legal work. From FY21 to 23, BPUB was spending an average $1.5 million annually. Since hiring a general counsel and chief legal officer, BPUB has experienced a consistent decline in legal fees expenditures. In FY 2024, BPUB spent $632,000 in legal and is projected to spend $436,000 in FY 2025. And even by including the O&M expenses, still below what we used to spend of $1.5 million in those years. At calendar events, again, last week we went to the Finance Committee. Today we're here presenting this item. This week we meet with the executive team and making any necessary adjustments. And then the following week we plan to have one-on-one meetings with the board members. And then by September the 8th, we present the budget to the board for consideration and approval. And this is the end of the presentation. Any questions?
No, thank you, very, very thorough, and I know that within a couple of weeks, we'll have a chance to get into more detail and ask you even more questions. So thank you for that, Jorge, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to item E. 3E is drought update. Jaime Flores.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Good afternoon. I think it turned off, maybe.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, my name is Jaime Flores, Water Resources Administrator, and I'll be giving the drought update. So we have some good news. We have reached 25.8%, which is an improvement for what we've seen all summer. As you can see, July 12th, we had 24.4%, July 19th, 24.8%, and July 26th, 26%. So we have seen some increase in the reservoir levels, and this is based on rains that happened in Mexico. The National Weather Service August to October 2025 outlook for the Lower Rio Grande Valley and Deep South Texas region. They're predicting a normal to hotter than normal outlook is anticipated during the August or October 2025 timeframe. The combined share of water in Amistad and Falcon likely to continue at or below stage 2 triggers until further notice. Falcon International Reservoir remained near historic lows at the end of July. Confidence remains near certain 100% on total storage remaining just above record lows through October. Only rainfall production from the remains of a tropical cyclone can effectively address the deficit. Any additional rises to the reservoirs would likely come from monsoon rainfall in the Rio Conchos Basin or an eastern Pacific tropical cyclone that moves across northern Mexico in late September or October. Oh, again, I forgot to tell you that the packages, we made some adjustments to the slides, so they're right in front of you, just to make sure.
We got the new one, thank you.
Okay, sorry. Any additional, so water conservation is key until further notice. Again, here's the drought response stages. So we're in between, we're at 26, basically 26%. So we're basically right above stage 2 drought restrictions, or the triggers. But we did want to discuss the triggering conditions. Condition 1, the level of the United States water stored in Amistad and Falcon International reservoirs reaches 25%, and or analysis of water supply and demand indicates the city of Brownsville Brownsville PUB annual water allotment may be exhausted, or line breaks or pump system failure due to hurricanes, flooding, freezes, and/or some other natural or man-made causes will result in unprecedented loss or capability to provide service, and/or peak demands onto Brownsville PUB water distribution and/or treatment plants are near capacity levels and will place a strain on the system, and/or contamination of the water supply and/or transmission and distribution system to hurricanes, freezes, and/or their natural or man-made causes may result in unprecedented loss of capability to provide services. So these are just other triggers besides the 25% that we consider. And stage 2 termination or considerations are normal to hotter than normal outlook is anticipated during the August through October 2025 timeframe. Agricultural reservoir water demand to continue during summer months. Stability of Amistad Falcon reservoir levels contingent on Mexico deliveries and precipitation in the watershed upstream of the reservoirs. And in 2023, we delayed rescinding stage 2 3 months after reservoirs levels reached above 25% to observe the stability of the reservoir levels, drought monitoring predictions, and to prevent confusion and public communication and implementation. So we're still looking at all these factors before we rescind any kind of drought restrictions at this point. Again, we still are on level 2 drought restrictions, which just calls for watering 2 days out of the week based on your address, on your last 2 digits of your address. The same revolves for car washing. So all that's going to stay in place. Hopefully, we're not going to reach stage 3 at any time soon. But those are in your packet if you do want to review them. Drought messaging through July 2025. The website, we had drought resources, 79 visitors. On social media, 13 drought-related content, 14,739 unique viewers, and 280 interactions. Drought messaging, community presentations, we had 1 drought-related discussion. Billboards, we had 6 billboards at 4 different locations, 2 in collaboration with the City of Brownsville, and 25,000 plus monthly appearances on these billboards. And that concludes my presentation. Do you have any questions?
No questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll continue down the line. 3F, presentation and discussion on the BPUB Advanced Metering Infrastructure Opt-out Program. Eduardo Campirano.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Eddie Campirano, and I'm the Senior Customer Service Manager, and today I'll be presenting information on the BPUB AMI Opt-out Program. The purpose of this program is to provide customers the opportunity to opt out of receiving an AMI meter and the AMI program as a whole. So today we're going to be discussing who's eligible. We're also going to be talking about the cost implications and also the proposed fee structure here. So to summarize this slide, the customer segment or customer class who are going to be eligible to opt out of receiving an AMI meter are going to be the residential electric customer class. And so moving on to the next slide. Right here, we're estimating a potential 0.01% of customers opting out, and that's based on data that we've found, and also the IOUs were required to publish most of their data on their opt-out. So we found that on average, the approximate opt-out rate is 0.01%. So carrying over that methodology, we have approximately 48,000 residential electric customers. So based on those projections, we're anticipating potentially 480 customers opting out. The next box of values, the data that you see right there, is my annual meter reading expense of just under $700,000. That's my O&M personnel budget for the meter reading department. We currently have 11 full-time employees and also 5 temporary positions with that. So we actually have 16 meter readers at this time. We're anticipating, and also based on our consultants, of retaining 3 full-time meter readers on staff, and those are to accommodate our A-base meter customers, which are the older type of meters, and also these opt-out customers, and any customers that may need a read on potentially some of the new meters. So my budget will go down, essentially reduced to, which again will cover 3 meter readers, a little under $131,000 there on the personnel side.
Yes, ma'am.
sorry?
No, yeah, the estimated opt-out rate at 0.01% is about 48 customers out of the 48,000.
Forgive me. Yeah, I added an extra zero there. I was giving us a little bit of a buffer. Thank you for catching that.
Actually, did you base the estimated cost based on that, or?
We did actually for the next slide, so that'll be adjusted, so thank you for catching that. So there's going to be a part where it is going to be affected, but there's going to be a significant part where it's actually not going to be affected. So most of the cost here will not be affected by that error. So let's jump down to the third box there. So comparing what other utilities are doing, as you notice, you'll recognize some of the munis in there as well. So these utilities here do have a one-time opt-out fee and then also a recurring monthly fee, as you can see there. So we would be applying that same methodology. And again, I want to mention here that this is a cost recovery mechanism and not an additional revenue stream for the utility. So as costs go up or down, they will be translated back to the customer as well. So these fees or these proposed fees on either the one-time opt-out fee and also the monthly fee will be reviewed annually. So that being said, customers who do not have an AMI meter on their wall now, which the current practice right now is if a customers are deciding that they do not want one at this time, they're just being put at the end of the line. So we'll get to those when they're back up to get their AMI meter installed. So those customers actually will not see it cost a one-time proposed fee for them at all. So the one-time proposed fee will only be applicable to those customers who do have an AMI meter on their wall. And essentially that's because we will be taking off the AMI meter because there's a cost associated with that meter, because our current practice is not to reuse electric meters. Now, if the business process does change, that obviously cost will go down and that will be reflected here. The cost of an RF meter, which is the meter we would be installing, and obviously the service fee or the rollout essentially for an employee going out there to have to swap out that meter. But again, this is only applicable to those customers who have an AMI meter installed. If they do not have an AMI meter installed, they will not be charged this one-time fee. Jumping down to the second box there, the monthly opt-out fee. So the recurring monthly fee will be $35, and this is actually, we talked about the O&M budget for retaining meter readers. And so this is our cost, essentially, of having that meter reader on staff to go read those meters and come back to the location and input those reads into our billing system. Do we have any questions here before I move on to the next one?
I have a question.
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
please.
I mean, why would somebody opt out?
We are getting some customer feedback, and most of the feedback that we're actually getting from customers, and it's very few. We have less than 20 up to this point, so I want to go ahead and preface with that. It's either health concerns or also we've had some religious concerns as well.
Concerns?
Correct, yes.
What-
I think it's just an unfamiliarity with the technology, but I think customers may feel that the technology that uses it to communicate with us may have some negative health effects. Yes.
Are we mandated by regulation to provide an opt-out program? Are there other utilities that just don't do opt-out?
That's a very good question. And so, no, we are not mandated. This is up to the utility's discretion to offer such a program. And there are other utilities, including municipalities, who do not offer an opt-out program.
Like,
So again, is it at the discretion of the utility?
you're not going to make 100% of the people happy 100% of the time. You have 48 customers in our big utility. It seems to be like a pretty big concession to have somebody go out there and read for 48 customers. I mean, to me, I don't
They will be
understand
paying
it.
for it.
Huh?
They will be paying for it too. Like this, you don't think so? You don't think this is enough to recover the cost?
I just don't understand, but
Yeah.
why we would do that.
That was something that we considered, so we're just kind of basing this on some of the customer engagement and feedback that we've received. So again, it's at the discretion of the utility whether we want to completely deploy this program or not.
Yeah.
So
Was that discussed, or is this just the first presentation? I know you have a time calendar here.
correct. This is the first time we're presenting it to the full board. We did present it to the programs committee and pending PubCap as well. But this was considered internally, and so, of course, with the recommendation of board and internal staff, we do not have to offer this program because there's no mandate involved.
Okay.
Yeah, I was present in that committee meeting. Personally, I am familiar with, the internet information, that around the AMI type of health concerns. Personally, I don't think, they're valid, but I understand that there may be people in the community who would not want to have this for that reason or maybe other reasons, I'm not sure. So I was open to that. I mean, I know that there's an efficiency factor that we're losing, but at the same time, I think we can revisit this point, once we complete the AMI and see where we're at and maybe reevaluate the program.
Correct, yeah. We're anticipating setting the last meter in the March of 2027 timeframe, and at that time, we can certainly reevaluate what customer engagement feedback is
Maybe I
provided.
could see it, if you're an existing PUB customer, okay, but any future customers, I don't get it. Again, you're not gonna make everyone happy 100% of the time. I think 0.01% is a pretty low amount, so, but it's good discussion, and I guess we'll go on to the next steps, and I myself am gonna think about that. I'll ask more questions after the meeting.
Yeah, by all means. And if you guys request any data or anything like that, I'd be happy to provide. Thank you. Next steps is we did present this information to the Facilities and Programs Committee on August 8th. Obviously, today we're presenting to the board meeting. We would be finalizing the program guidelines, which outlines all the details, including new customers and new developments and things like that. And we would have to integrate the fees within the billing system, make sure that we're testing and the bill presentation and so forth. We will be presenting this to PubCap on the September 17th PubCap meeting. And of course, we'll be in coordinating with our PR and communications department to make sure that once this program is unrolled, that all FAQs and all program information and everything is certainly living in one repository and available to all of our customers.
Okay.
Any further questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
Okay, so moving on down to item number 4, consideration and possible action for a bid award for the annual supply of electrical inventory material. Diana Solitaire.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Diane Solitaire, Purchasing and Materials Manager. The PUB Purchasing Department opened bids for the annual supply of electric inventory material on May 29th of 2025. The invitation to bid was advertised in the Brownsville Herald on May 3rd and 10th, posted on PUB's webpage, and emailed to 8 vendors with 5 vendors responding. The following items will require casting of lots. Item number E0138-00 to KBS or Wesco/Annixter.
KBS Electrical.
The next item, E0144-00 to KBS or Wesco/Annixter.
Wesco Annixter.
The next item, E0643-00 KBS or Wesco/Annixter.
Wesco Annixter.
And E1098-01 to KBS or Priester Mill.
Priester Mill in Nicholson.
Okay, the electrical material will be used for daily operations on residential and commercial developments as well as replacements of existing material throughout the city of Brownsville. Electrical material will be ordered as needed and paid for as received over a period of 1 year. Term of the contract is from August 12, 2025 through August 11, 2026. The recommended action is BPUB staff recommends approval of bid award for the annual supply of electrical inventory material to the low bidders meeting specifications as follows. KBS Electric of Austin, Texas, in the amount of $1,378,586.25. Wesco Annixter of San Antonio, Texas, in the amount of $169,780.60. Stuart C. Irby of Bastrop, Texas, in the amount of $62,644. Priester Mellon Nicholson of San Antonio, Texas, in the amount of $96,008.50. And Techline of San Antonio, Texas, in the amount of $473,649.75, plus casting of lots in the amount of $19,654, for a grand total amount of $2,200,323.10. Any questions?
No questions? Nope.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Okay, we'll move to item. Oh, there's an action, okay, so,
I move to approve.
Second.
all righty, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to item H, recess to close meeting. I'll just read some of this before we go in. Recess to close meeting to consider matters pursuant to Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. At this time, the items on the agenda designated for closed meeting will be considered. If there is an approved motion to go into closed session, the listeners will be placed on hold until the board returns to open meeting. Item 1, meeting with the board's legal counsel for advice on contemplated and pending court and administrative litigation and on matters in which the duty of the attorney under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct conflicts with Chapter 551, Section 551.071, including but not limited to any items moved to closed session, and the following. A, reports of local and special counsel, including regarding potential or pending litigation involving BPUB. B, updates on contract negotiations related to large-scale business development. C, exposure to effects of tariffs. And D, legal considerations for public assistance programs. Item 2, presentation and discussion and possible recommendation of information upon pricing of purchased power, generation, and fuel, and their impact upon the fuel purchase energy and market charge. Sections 551.086 and Section 551.072. Do you have a motion to convene to closed?
Motion.
Second? I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
The time is 6:18.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone, for waiting and your patience. We've closed, we're done with the closed meeting, so we reconvene the open meeting. Do we need a vote on that? No, okay.
Just reconvene the meeting.
Yeah, we'll just continue. No actions were taken.
Correct.
We'll continue to item I. Considering an action on closed meeting items, there was none. So item J, consideration and action on future agenda items.
I don't have any.
I'm good. Thank you.
All right, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All those in
Aye.
favor? All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. I try. Make up for all the.